Thousands of you guys have net decked this deck straight from Ash Lizzle's best of 3 video right into best of 1. I'm staring at your data on untapped.gg, I'm looking at your win rates, and it's not as good as it could be. And I am here to help you out. The first thing you have to do, no questions asked, is remove Hazoret Godseeker. This card sucks. This is not a criticism of Ash's deck making ability. She was probably just trying out some new cards from Aetherdrift, but now that we have some data on it, if you weren't able to tell just by reading the card is not very good. In your opening hand, it has the lowest possible win rate of any card you could play in this deck attached to it. That's not that surprising. It's obviously not a good card to have in the opening hand because it doesn't have the engine started yet in the early turns of the game. If you look at the win rate attached to this card, if you drew it at any point in the game, it still has either the worst or one of the lowest win rates attached to it of any card you could possibly shove in this deck. This is true in best of 3. This is true in best of 1. This card's not very good. In fact, it's terrible. If you're mad that you spent your Mythic wild cards on it, next time you can watch my 2.5-hour set review where I go over all the cards and I tell you ahead of time that this card is not going to be very good. So we're definitely taking that card out. In its place for now, we'll shove in some Seer Slicer Goblin. I really like this card, but you don't have to craft it if you don't want to spend rares on it. Next thing I want to address is the 1-drop slot with 3 copies of the Voyager Glide card and 4 copies of Warden of the Inner Sky. This is interesting. This is 7 copies of a fairly redundant effect, and you don't get very much incremental value from multiples of these cards. They all compete for the same resource, and in fact also compete for the same resource with the Knight Errant of Eos. In all of these cases, you're looking to have random creatures lying around that you can then tap for extra value. In the case of Warden of the Inner Sky, you get a +1 counter and scry 1, and eventually get Flying and Vigilance, which is very good. And in the Glide card's case, you can tap multiple creatures to give this thing Flying for the turn and put a +1 counter on it. So these things all compete for the same stuff, and obviously Convoke for Knight Errant. I really don't think you need 7 of this effect. This effect is really at its best in long, grindy games, where you have nothing better to do and the board state is stalled, and so you have the time to tap stuff and get that extra scry or value on it. But if it is inherently better in long games where you're not being as aggressive because you have the time to tap your board state, that means you don't actually need as many copies of that effect in the deck, right? If you want a copy on turn 1, you want to run 4 of that card no matter what, because you want to increase your chance of having it in the opening hand. But if you don't necessarily need this effect in the opening hand, this is more of a late game thing, you actually have more time to draw into it, so I don't think we need 7 copies. I think roughly 3 is fine. If you wanted to go to 3 Warden and 1 Glide card to have 4 of that effect, I get it. It's a very strong effect, but for me, I think 1 and 2 is about right. To flesh out the rest of the 1-drop slot, we're going to add in some of the Yoshin Frontliner. You could go with the Clockwork Percussionist, but I think the Frontliner is a little bit better. It hits a bit harder because it gives another creature +1/+1, and you can very easily unearth it, which can help you hit your Convoke or whatever else you're dealing with. So we're going to start with this, and we may tweak this a little bit more. Let's see. Next thing I want to address is probably the 3-drop slot. In taking out Hazoret, we're also going to make space for the Sanguine Evangelist. Both before Aetherdrift and after Aetherdrift, this is one of the highest possible win rate cards you can put in this deck. Number 1 will always be Gleeful Demolition. Turn 1, play an artifact. Turn 2, Gleeful Demolition is just the best thing. It's almost an unbeatable start, especially if you pair it with Knight Errant. I've seen plenty of opponents scoop to that. Like, you want to structure your deck to maximize the number of artifacts you have on 1 so that you can guarantee the Gleeful Demolition if you have it in the opening hand. This is one of the reasons you might play the Glide card over the Warden of the Inner Sky, because the Warden of the Inner Sky is the only 1-drop in the deck that it itself neither is an artifact nor produces an artifact, and Gleeful Demolition is the highest win rate thing you can possibly do in this deck. If you pop off on turn 2 with that, like, the game is potentially over on the spot. But the Evangelist is the next card that really has a high win rate attached to it across both before and after Aetherdrift. It's a creature. When it dies, it makes a creature, and it has this kind of Lord Anthem battle cry effect stapled to it. So this card is very good as well. And the mana base, we're going to take out 1 copy of Mirrex. This might be a little better in best of 3, where the games tend to go slower, and maybe having that kind of late game not draw engine, but late game effects that you can pile extra mana into could be better in best of 3. In best of 1, I want to be a little more consistent, and we have so many 1-drops that are specifically pipped, like specifically 1 red, specifically 1 white for all sorts of stuff. I don't ever want to stumble and have a Mirrex, a turn later not be able to produce the mana I need. So we're going to drop that down to 1, but otherwise, I like what she's done with the mana base. I think 21 is about right. 22 could be fine too. You might flood out some games, but I think that's about right. So the last tweaks I want to make to the deck is I'm actually going to put in more Seer Slicer Goblin. This may not be the most optimal thing to do. I just really like this card, and we're going to cut some of the Resolute Reinforcements. I mean, I kind of have a soft spot for this card. It's one of my favorite cards to come out of Foundations. If you were on the play and you go turn 1 creature, turn 2 goblin, attack, and you spat out a token, like you feel like you're off to the races. Reinforcements, on the other hand, basically guarantees you the 2 creatures, which could be nice to set up for Knight Errant. So maybe this card's better. There is actually 0 data on Seer Slicer Goblin and Untapped.gg for this deck. Like I think people just aren't playing it, but it kind of has a soft spot in my heart, so we're going to try it out. I like what she's done with Case of the Gateway Express and Shelter by Ghosts. You don't want too many removal spells because you need enough creatures to do the thing. But you also don't want too little because there are some threats you have to deal with. Statistically, Case of the Gateway Express in this particular deck is actually about 2 percentage points better than Shelter by Ghosts across the board. The problem with Shelter is that we don't have big creatures to wield it. Like ideally you have at least a 3 toughness creature that can survive Burst Lightning, or even better, a 4 toughness creature that can survive Lightning Strike. Because once you have 4 toughness, you basically auto win against mono red, and this is in fact the mono red killer. But Case of the Gateway Express does have the solved effect stapled to the back. So running 4 and 2, I like what she's done there, and otherwise we'll give this deck a go. We're gonna play it live, no cuts, no edits. If we lose every game, that is fine. It's not ideal, but I'm not gonna cut them out for you. So we'll see how this goes. I may need to adjust to the glide car. I haven't played it myself, I don't think. I just have to remember that you only get the flying and counter if you tap 3 creatures, but you can always just crew for 1. I'm not used to that card yet. 1 to play, it's looking good. Yeah, looks fine to me. I guess we'll go frontliners here for a little extra damage. Not sure we need the inspector just yet. We'll take it. Look at your guys' comments for the day while we play. Immediate shock, that's okay. We'll get you back later. You can come in here. You can come in on colorless. So we do have Shelter versus red. I mean, again, there's no one great to wield it. If they run all out of removal, we can try to throw it on the recruiter maybe. Let's go no blocks. Nah. Burst Lightning. Well, the good news is if they burn all the removal early, we could have a clean Shelter for a couple turns. I don't think I want to Shelter yet. Ebenezer's Recruiter is also a little meh at this point. Flashing these back is also not very productive. We might have to Shelter here just to have something productive to do. It's kind of a waste, though. Otherwise, we can draw. Man, surely they're going to be better creatures. Maybe we just take the draw here. I'm honestly not sure we waste Shelter by Ghost this early. I think I'm going to take the draw instead. Like a Screaming Nemesis would be a huge target. Heartfire Hero is also a much better Shelter target. We could actually block this, but I think it's fine not to. Down to 17. We're holding mana open. That's very suspicious. It does not inspire us to go for Shelter just yet. Another land. We could go Frontline or Recruiter for some damage this turn. Comes in on whites. Our hand is very meh here. The question is, do they have another Burst Lightning? It's too risky to go for this. So I think we're just going to Ebenezer's Recruiter this turn. We could also wait one more turn. I think it's fine. I think we want some stuff out of their hand to get a clean Shelter. Ideally taking like a big hero or something. It's been a pretty awkward sequence for us. Okay, let's see if like a Monstrous Rage comes out. They most want to block the Recruiter here. I guess if they block the Nesting Bot, it's good too. Block there, plus Rage. Super defensive mono red? Yeah, okay. Drop to 12. Let's see if there's stick. There's no stick at all, so they don't have Burst Lightning in hand. Great. Alright, they're all tapped out, so we'll go for Shelter here. They hold back the Nemesis. Well, I guess we'll just pick off all their stuff, basically. We can put this on the nesting bot. It's the card we'd most want them to kill if they had to. Shelter you. Play you back. Case. Zap you, get some lifelink, and swing and flip the case. Lifelink there. Yeah, pretty weird game. Like, we've kind of just dirtled along, and it looks like we'll win. But not like an explosive showing from the deck, for sure. I think another thing we could have done is, like, we could have waited all the way to turn 5 to get the other half of the Imminade's Recruiter, get some tokens, play a little bit slower. They just had kind of a bad draw, I think, honestly. This comment says, the good doctor somehow seems to have a corner on the market of non-brain-dead best-of-1 videos. Like, how many other YouTubers just straight up net deck this thing, made no modification. This is to a different deck. Go to best-of-1 and only show the wins. It's a lot of them who've done that. Thanks for making changes and talking through them. You're welcome. There's respect. I played the top 8 Pro Golgari, I'm not sure what to call it, self-mill deck yesterday. One lander on the play. You probably should not keep it one lander. At 38% chance to hit the next land. It's like kind of okay, but it's not really acceptable, I don't think. 2 land is better. Oh, it's a whole bunch of Knight Errants. Yeah, we'll keep this. It's Knight Errant all the way down. Hello. Michael Hetzer. Hey, friend. Yeah, I did see several other YouTubers play the Golgari self-mill deck. It's like, this budget deck is crazy. You won't believe this, but it's like, I don't even think it's budget, man. What are you talking about? And I also don't think it's crazy. Like, in Best of 1 Standard, like, my experience was kind of meh, honestly. Can we tap itself? I guess so. Let's do that. Whew. I mean, we just need like 1 drops of land here. I tried to make it better. I think the Quag Feast makes sense. I think you do need more interaction Best of 1 Standard, but it's like it's a weird deck. It's very middle of the road. You auto lose to like Sunfall, but you're not very fast, and you will still lose games to mono red, so yeah, it's kind of weird. I did my best with it. All right, this is acceptable here. I guess we could scry again. I mean, we really need either a land or 1 drop here. Over attacking. I think we just get you nice and chunky. Land. Yeah, it does the thing. Okay. Cool. It's not like we can flip the case by attacking this turn anyway. That's a problem. They don't attack, though. What's up with all these mono reds being so gimmicky? Yeah, I think we're just gonna Knight Errant here. Hopefully we hit some juicy 2 drops or 1 drops. I love myself some goblin action. I guess nesting bot is probably generically good here. I guess they're pretty similar. They didn't attack with the Nemesis though. That's interesting. What do we want to do here? We could give the Warden flying and then play the Goblin and attack. I think that's kind of decent, maybe. Rage up. They don't even enter combat. They're just going for it now. Very bold. And now, like, lightning strike it, I guess? Okay. Interesting sequencing. This isn't a bad block here. They could kill the Warden, but we have some nice follow-ups, honestly. 6 to the face hurts, but I think we're going to take this. It's a good opportunity. It's my go. Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. Interesting. I didn't know. All right, let's see if they go face or Warden here. Yeah, that's okay. We got more gas to go. Let's give him the old Goblin. This is on end step, right? Guess I'm not sure we'll get an attack off. Depends what we draw this turn. Mouse for 2, but not for 4. Another Nemesis in hand? Oh my gosh. This guy, dude. This guy. Now he's gonna have it haste? What's going on over here? No blocks, take 4. We could technically block with the nesting bot and lose nothing. I think that's fine. Alright, what are we doing here? I think Knight Errant's pretty good. This is on end step, right? At the beginning of your end step? Yeah, we'll just take the Knight Errant here. Nice deck. Thank you. I think he's being facetious, though. Other deck? I don't have any good... I don't have thanks. I don't know if he's being facetious or not. I mean, he's playing mono red, so it'd be weird to criticize me for playing another, like, well-known deck. Rockface Village is sorcery speed. You can't do that. If he has rage, we still trade. This is fine. Could have lightning strike. Then that would work with first strike. Oh, not trade. Sorry, +3. That's fine still. Trample is annoying though. Like our Seer Sicer Goblin can't pump out a bunch of tokens to block this thing. At least not effectively. That's a card. We can win pretty soon then. If we do this plus Gleeful Demolition, we could either sack the nesting bot or the token here, and then Immodane's Recruiter next turn. Are we dead is the question. If they have another rage, it's only +2. That'd be 8 damage. I think we're kind of going to attack all here. And sack the nesting bot, maybe. Let's see if they have any response or interaction. Maybe not. If we really want to be careful, we can sack the token to the Gleeful Demolition. I think that's better. There's a chance they could kill the nesting bot in response. So let's just guarantee this gets done. And then next turn we'll swing for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 2 basically. Like a lot of damage. No rest, no mercy, no matter what. Alright, we have a ton of damage coming this turn. Okay, that's 6 damage now. Okay, that's 8 damage now. Last card in hand. They show it to us now. It is exactly 12 damage. We only have to block with 1 creature here. So you can go. Should be fine. We have no pain lands. Drop to 1. Okay, here we go. Bizarre game of Magic. Yeah, it's interesting. This kind of game showcases like the difference between playing in like Platinum and Diamond and even low Mythic. Like you will play against opponents who make some fairly suboptimal decisions. Which means like I'm not actually showcasing the most, not like the most truthful version of the deck, but like I can't represent the deck at its best if I play against opponents that make that many mistakes. Which is interesting. I try to stay in high Mythic, but I'm not going to like grind all day every day to do it. It's almost the end of the season, so we'll get a reset soon. On the draw. Great hand. If we're on the play, I'd love it more. I do love my Goblin. We'll keep this. Eric Vincent says, just coming back into MTGA Arena after 5 years. Your videos are so helpful to get me back to speed on the layout of the meta. Thank you so much. Please keep it up. You're welcome. I will keep it up. We're having a good time with this. Inspector or Warden? Maybe Warden here? If they were going to kill something, I guess we'd rather them kill the Inspector for now. Let's see if they tap out. They do tap out for Beanstalk. So we get free reign to do whatever we want. Can play you on white just fine. And I think we're going to Goblin Town. And if they temporary lockdown us, we'll just cry ourselves to sleep. Let's see what they got. They could be playing, you know, the Pro Tour version. The winner does have 3 lockdowns in his deck, though. Whereas the second place guy only had 1 split up. So, we'll see. He'd have to sweep both his Beanstalks, though. Also hasn't hit that 3rd land drop. I mean, I guess we just keep going crazy here. I think we'll play the next Goblin after combat. Just try to go as wide as possible. I guess technically this is basically the same. No, this is more creatures. Alright, let's see what the attack all button holds. No stick at all. Yeah, I mean, I think we're just deploying all. I don't think we're going to hold back for like a turn 4 sweep. If they got it, they got it. You could tap this for the scry, but honestly the split up is one thing they could do here. So let's not. Let's withhold a little bit of value on the off chance they actually have split up instead of temporary lockdown. Survey says, what is your turn 4 play? Could be Wrath of God, Day of Judgment. Could be nothing. They're touching. They're touching some cards. That's good. I think if you have the sweeper, you just play it. Bitter Triumph. That's what I'm talking about. I think we likely just have him here then. They got something else to go. Maybe a Get Lost. Milch says, are you live streaming? It looks like you're reading some kind of chat, but can't find you on Twitch. Live streaming on YouTube. Do you have a schedule? I don't. I'm not live streaming. I have my YouTube comments open in another window. And if I have a break in the need to use my mind to play, then we just run it down the middle here. Then I'll turn to the side and read the chat. But I don't live stream. Is that lethal? It is. Exactly lethal. Loving this content. Always going to watch your videos when I see them pop up. Thanks, man. I always appreciate those kinds of comments. I don't always read them because they're not like productive to having discussions, but I just want you to know that if you leave appreciative comments, I do like them. Oh man, someone had an interesting comment. I wonder where it went. They're talking about the Golgari deck I played yesterday, and they said the creator of the deck later acknowledged that they made a mistake, and it was like instead of Molt Tender or the Cenote Scout, they wish they had played. I don't even know what the card's name is. It's like a green 1-mana 1/1 that you can cast back from the graveyard and put a counter on something. I forget what it's called. This is okay. We'll keep this. I wish I had that information. I'd love to see what that insight was. All right, we'll get the speed started on 1 here. Muljskluski says, lost to this version about the Golgari deck just a few hours ago. Another MTG content creator to follow so that I know what people are net decking. After binge watching a few vids, the content is 12/10. Dude, that's what I like to hear. Okay, we can just Gleeful Demolition here. It's going to be crazy. I think we're good on mana. I guess there's not really a difference, right? Are we ever going to want to draw with this card? That's fine. We'll do it this way. All right, 0 mana 5 drop. Must be nice. Okay, let's go. So the question is, how do we not lose here? Like, I don't know if we durdle too long with Knight Errant. They could definitely have some sweepers. I'm putting on 9 points of damage this turn. Like, maybe we just play Warden in case this turn and try to push for lethal in the next 2 turns. I don't know if they're going to run the 5-drop, like, Deadly Cover-Up Sweeper. They start the mill. They have 2 mana open, so we expect to see Knight Errant die. Ah, just a cut down. I think auto passes to us as well. I guess these are similar in power level. We could drop the Evangelist this turn, I think. I think we're pushing for lethal. I don't think we're dirtling too much with subsequent Knight Errants. I think we're just doing this. You can play Case to get it flipped, I think, even with 0 targets, and play the Warden. Evangelist is pretty similar to the Case. Although they can pick it off. Yeah. I'm glad that went the way it did. But they had some... Yeah, I guess it just didn't really have sweepers. Some weird single target interaction. Fear Philosian says, I ate this deck for breakfast today. Again, about the Golgari deck I played yesterday. Before you posted this video, so somebody copied it. I'm like, what the heck does this deck try to do? But I put the herd on them. Let's go, dude. The herd, H-E-R-D. He put the herd on them so bad that by the time they could try to do the strategy, because we're playing best of 1 and not best of 2, by the time he started doing stuff, he started giving me free creatures. So I was like, ooh, free, eat. And he had no life capital for me. Getting out 5/10. This guy is on some shrooms or something, man. I just got better and better. I don't even know. I don't even know what that meant. That was epic, though. That was the greatest rant I've ever read. I ate this deck for breakfast. No life capital. I can't. That's really funny. I think my eyes are watering from that. It's mono red Hired Claw. This comes in on white, which is fine. So if we demolition here, we still have enough mana to just go into Knight Errant, right? It is the most busted timeline. Let's do it. Doing the thing. Only a 1-drop. That's okay. This name would be even better if it was Neckbeard Deck Wins. Or Bear Deck Wins. Okay, I get it. Bear's Tribal. I think Neckbeard would still be better. Alex White says, this would quickly become my favorite channel for watching Best of 1 Standard. Thanks, man. Appreciate how level-headed you are about the metagame, and I find the way you evaluate decks fascinating, especially since right now, a lot of people seem to only complain about the state of the format. Though if you find yourself getting tired of Standard, I'd be really curious to see you try other arena formats like Brawl or Timeless, when there's a lot more room for creative brews. I tried Brawl for a little bit. For a little while, I was doing 2 videos a day, 1 Standard day and 1 Brawl video today, and the Brawl videos don't get any clicks, man. Like less than half? So if they want to Rage here for +3, we could trade with either. I think we're pretty happy to trade in general. Maybe with the Swift Spear, we could block the Claw. Blocking the Claw is a little awkward too. Not sure who offers the most damage over time. I think we'll try to trade with the Swift Spear here. And they can rage their way through it if they want. Yeah. Okay, to 17 we go. I think Evangelist is fine here. Also, blocks kind of okay if we actually wanted it to. We could try to eat some with the reinforcements. I don't know how helpful that is. A little bit of cat and mouse. Who's really the aggressor here? Are we the aggressor or is Mono Red the aggressor? I don't know if we trade with Higher Claw. They don't attack anyway. Interesting. Now what? We just have the bat attacking. We could take a Novice Inspector draw. It's not like we're staring down lethal yet. I think it's just you in the air. The Nemesis is definitely awkward. And I think we play the frontliner and likely take the draw. Unless we think we have lethal. I mean, if they get overly aggressive, we could try to count lethal off the Evangelist trigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll just do discard a card, then draw 2. Okay. Those were valuable. Obviously, we get top deck lethal. Well, let's say 3 things get blocked or removed. Then we get in for like, let's see. This gets blocked, a 2/2 gets blocked. That's pretty much it. Seven? It's close to lethal. Maybe we'll take the reinforcements here. We could still draw on our turn and hit lethal that way somehow. Alright, let's begin here. I don't think we have lethal currently, but we could find it in the next 2 turns. That's also not it. So again, if we attack all, they'll block 3 things, and they'll basically take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 damage. I think it's worth it. Let's hope they can't. That's the rice cooker. Please ignore the rice cooker. Battle cry. Who do we most want them to block here? I guess we'll put it on the bat, because the bat's likely unavoidable, but they might kill the bat. That's okay. We'll put it on the bat anyway. I think we're dropping them to 1. And I don't anticipate them finding lethal this coming turn. So I think we get there in the next turn or so. When I'm thinking, like, we could see a burst lightning on the bat here. But we get the Evangelist trigger. If they wanted to kill the Evangelist, they should have done it before combat. Because we just doubled all our damage. Come on, Neckbeard. Show me what you got. This is an interesting comment. That raise the pass deck always clowns me when I hit it. I wonder if it doesn't make a showing in the Pro Tour because the triggers are functionally unplayable in paper. That would be really funny if it was the best deck in the world, but everyone refused to play it because it was too annoying to play. I doubt it, but that is a funny observation. That's a good block for us. It just comes back next turn. I don't think that's the one I would block. Okay, drops to 1. 2 damage picks off someone, probably the Evangelist here. But I think we basically got him on the crackback. Goes down. I think... Let's see. We won't do this turn. This is another interesting comment. By the same guy, Lacertivo. Lacertivo, you're a great commenter. You come out almost every day. I think the one card that could reprint into Standard that would change the meta is Back to Nature. 2 mana, instant speed, enchantment sweeper. That sounds fantastic. Goodbye Overlords, Beans, Talents, Hopeless Nightmare, Shelter, etc. That's awesome. Thank you for that comment. I think I was saying the other day, I wasn't sure if there was any new card that could really shake up Standard, but yes, that would. Unfortunately, then you would just see even more mono red. Like, we would need to see a card that both completely blunts mono red. Like, mono white has to be so good. Like, mono white life gain has to be so good that mono red can't win, or something like that. The problem is you can't out life gain the double strike, is really what the problem is. All right, let's take a little look here at the end. I'll even remember to move my camera for you guys. So yeah, I like what we did with the deck. We had a strong showing today, but honestly, a lot of the opponents were not very strong opponents, so I don't want you to, like... Just because of this one video, you shouldn't spend all your wild cards in this video because I happen to do very well today. In general, I do think this deck is good, but I'm also not sure that my showing in like low mythic is representative of what you might experience on like more competitive playing fields. But overall, yeah, I like what we did. Definitely get rid of Hazoret. If you already crafted it, I'm sorry, but this card does suck. I like Seer Slicer Goblin. I think you got to see it pop off a couple times, but if you don't want to spend rares on it, like Resolute Reinforcements is probably almost equivalent in power level and perhaps even better in a lot of cases. I think my argument still holds that you don't need infinite of these things. The best possible thing you can do in the deck is Gleeful Demolition. If you do that, you almost certainly win the game. So you really want a high density of artifacts. This could include the Glide Car. I'm just not so sure that you need more than 3 of this like tap effect, and certainly 7 seems like a lot to me, but that's just my opinion. Nesting Bot is a great addition from Aetherdrift, as well as the dual Verge Land. Both those are really good. Evangelist is good. I think you should put this card back in the deck. Again, along with the Demolition, it's one of the highest win rate cards you can possibly put in the deck, according to the stats. And I like what Ash did with 4 Case and 2 Shelter. I think that's about right. So, yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, or first off, stop net decking people's best of 3 decks into best of 1. Unless you want to keep giving me easy content ideas and then, you know, keep doing whatever you want. But in general, like, you should not assume that, that they'll be equivalently transferable. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I like your comments, and have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.